Peace and prosperity. Today, we're going to read a few scriptures and go over some of the things we are seeing coming to the forefront. Let's dive in. Okay, the first few scriptures that we're going to be reading today are going to be coming out of the second book of Baruch, and we're going to be reading chapters 24 through 32. For behold, the days come, and the Sepharim shall be opened, in which are written the sins of all those who have sinned. And again, also the treasuries in which the righteousness of all those who have been righteous in creation is gathered. For it shall come to pass at that time that you shall see, and the many that are with you, the long suffering of El Elyon, which has been throughout all generations, who has been long suffering towards all who are born alike, those who sin and those who are righteous. And I answered and said, But behold, O Yahuwah, no one knows the number of those things which have passed, nor yet of those things which are to come. For I know indeed that which has befallen us, but what will happen to our enemies, I know not. And when you will visit your works. Chapter 25. And he answered and said to me, You too shall be preserved till that time, till that sign which El Elyon will work for the inhabitants of the earth in the end of days. This therefore shall be the sign. When a stupor shall seize the inhabitants of the earth, and they shall fall into many tribulations, Shalakia, and again when they shall fall into great torments. And it will come to pass when they say in their thoughts by reason of their much tribulation, El Elohim no longer remembers the earth. Yeah, it will come to pass when they abandon hope that the time will then awake. Chapter 26. And I answered and said, Will that tribulation which is to be continued a long time? And will that necessity embrace many years? Chapter 27. And he answered and said to me, Into 12 parts is that time divided, and each one of them is reserved for that which is appointed for it. In the first part there shall be the beginning of commotions, and in the second part there shall be slayings of the great ones, and in the third part the fall of many by death, and in the fourth part the sending of the sword, and in the fifth part famine and withholding of rain, and in the sixth part earthquakes and terrors, wanting, and in the eighth part a multitude of specters and attacks of the Shiddaim. Verse 10. And in the ninth part the fall of fire, and in the 10th part rapine and much oppression, and in the 11th part wickedness and unchastity, and in the 12th part confusion from the mingling together of all those things aforesaid. For these parts of that time are reserved, and shall be mingled one with another, and minister one to another. For some shall leave out some of their own, and receive in its stead from others, and some complete their own, and that of others, so that those may not understand who are upon the earth in those days, that this is the consummation or completion of the times. Chapter 28. Nevertheless, whoever understands shall be wise. Let's read that again. Nevertheless, whoever understands shall then be wise. For the measure and reckoning of that time are 2 parts, a week of 7 weeks. And I answered and said, It is good for a man to come and behold, but it is better that he should not come lest he fall. But I will say this also, will he who is incorruptible despise those things which are corruptible, and whatsoever befalls in this case of those things which are corruptible, so that he might look only to those things which are not corruptible? But if, O Yahuwah, those things shall assuredly come to pass, which you have foretold me, so do you show this also to me, if indeed I have found grace in your sight. Is it in one place, or in one of the parts of the earth, that those things are come to pass, or will the whole earth experience them? Chapter 29. Shalakia. Chapter 29. And he answered and said to me, Whatsoever will then befall will befall the whole earth. Let me read that again. And he answered and said to me, Whatsoever will then befall will befall the whole earth. And I'm going to stop right there right quick and do just a little, intercession here. Everything that he was talking to that was going to will befall upon the whole earth is going back to the tribulations that he was naming. that was divided into 12 parts. Let's keep going. For at that time, I will protect only those who are found in those self same days in this land. Listen, we're going to read that again. For at that time, I will protect only those who are found in those self same days in this land. And it shall come to pass when all is accomplished that was to come to pass in those parts that Hamashiach, do y'all see that? That Hamashiach shall then begin to be revealed. And Behemoth shall be revealed from his place. And listen, and Leviathan shall ascend from the sea. I'm going to pause right there too. Now listen, y'all. Y'all remember when all those videos were circling around and they said that they seen the Leviathan? And there was a guy on TikTok who was posting real heavily about the Leviathan that was moving in the sea. And you could see it from the satellites, that it was wrapped around what looks like parts of America. But we're going to continue. We're going to start that verse over again from verse 3. And it shall come to pass when all is accomplished, this part that they was talking about with the tribulation is accomplished, to come to pass in those parts. Now listen now, that Hamashiach, which is Yahusha or Yeshua, that the Hamashiach shall then begin to be revealed. And Behemoth shall be revealed from his place, and Leviathan shall ascend from the sea. These two great monsters, which I created on the 5th day of creation, shall have kept until that time. And then they shall be for food for all that are left. Y'all do know who Behemoth and Leviathan are, right? They show y'all in the movies, King Kong and Godzilla. Okay, that's who. Behemoth is King Kong and Leviathan is Godzilla. They be showing y'all in the movies, but you should just read the Bible. Anyway, let's continue. The earth also shall yield its fruits 10,000 fold, and one each vine. There shall be 1,000 branches, and each branch shall produce 1,000 clusters, and each cluster produce 1,000 grapes, and each grape produce a quart of wine. And those who have hungered shall rejoice. Moreover, also they shall behold marvels every day. For wind shall go forth from before me to bring every morning the fragrance of aromatic fruits, and at the close of the day clouds distilling the dew of health. And it shall come to pass at that self same time that the treasury of manna shall again descend from on high, and they will eat of it in those years, because these are they who have come to the consummation or completion of the time. Chapter 30. And it shall come to pass after, and it shall come to pass after these things, when the time of the advent of Hamashiach is fulfilled, that he shall return in glory. Let's read that again so y'all can catch what this is telling you. And it shall come to pass after these things, when the time of the advent of Hamashiach is fulfilled, that he shall return in glory. Then all who have fallen asleep in hope of him shall rise again. And it shall come to pass at that time that the treasuries will be opened, in which is preserved the number of the souls of the righteous. And they shall come forth, and a multitude of souls shall be seen together in one assemblage of one thought. And the first shall rejoice, and the last shall not be grieved. For they know that the time has come, of which it is said that it is the consummation or completion of the times. But the souls of the wicked, when they behold all these things, shall then waste away the more. For they shall know that their torment has come, and their perdition has arrived. Do y'all not see that this is taking place? Do y'all not see that all these tribulations are happening? All right, chapter 31, Shalakia, chapter 31. And it came to pass after these things that I went to the people and said to them, assemble to me all your elders, and I will speak words to them. And they all assembled in the valley of Kidron, and I answered and said to them, hear, O Yasharel, and I will speak to you, and give ear, O seed of Yaakov, and I will instruct you. Forget not Zion, but hold in remembrance the anguish of Jerusalem. For lo, the days come when everything that is shall become the prey of corruption, and be as though it had not been. Chapter 32. But as for you, if ye prepare your hearts, so as to sow in them the fruits of the Torah, which is the law. It shall protect you in that time. Let's read that again. But as for you, talking to the children of Israel and those who cleave to the Most High, you Gentiles, but as for you, if ye prepare your hearts so as to sow in them the fruits of the Torah, or the law, it shall protect you. It shall protect you. It shall protect you in that time in which El Elohim is to shake whole creation. Because after a little time in the building of Zion will be shaken in order that it may be built again. Ain't that what they're trying to do? But that building will not remain, but will again for after a time be rooted out, and will remain desolate until the time. And afterwards it must be renewed in glory and perfected forevermore. Therefore, we should not be distressed so much over the evil which has now come as over that which is still to be. For there will be a greater trial than these two tribulations when El Elohim will renew his creation. And we're going to stop right there from the second book of Baruch. You know, I hope that you guys were listening and also reading along with the scriptures that I was reading here. Because if you were listening and were paying a close attention, you would understand and understand that the things that the Most High was telling Baruch at that time, we see happening today. Now we're going to continue on to our next few scriptures before we get further into our video. Okay, let's go. Okay, now we're going to be coming out of the second book of Esdras, and we're going to be reading chapter 13, but reading from verses 32 through 50. And I want you guys to listen very carefully, okay? And the time shall be when these things shall come to pass, and the signs shall happen which I showed you before. And then shall my son be declared. Where did we just hear this? Didn't we just hear this in 2nd Baruch? Whom you saw as a man ascending. Where did we hear that at before? In the book of Acts. Now, let's read that again. And the time shall be when these things shall come to pass, and the signs shall happen, which I showed you before. And then shall my son be declared, whom ye saw as a man ascending, which means to go up. And when all the people hear his voice, every man shall in their own land leave the battle that they have once one against another, and an innumerable multitude shall be gathered together, as you saw them, willing to come and to overcome him by fighting. Now, what this make y'all think of? What multitude of people are getting ready to go to war against Yahusha or Yeshua? Wouldn't this be WW3 or Armageddon? Let's continue. But he shall stand upon the top of Mount Zion, and Zion shall come and shall be showed to all men, being prepared and built, like as you saw the hill graven without hands. And this my son shall rebuke the wicked inventions of those nations, which for their wicked life are fallen into the tempest, and shall lay before them their evil thoughts. This is judgment. This is what he's talking about. His son, Yahusha HaMashiach, this is who he's referring to, the Most High, is going to rebuke or judge these wicked nations for their wicked inventions, and shall lay before them their evil thoughts, and the torments wherewith they shall begin to be tormented. This is judgment, which are like a flame, and he shall destroy them without labor by the Torah, which is like me. What did Yahusha say in the book of Revelations? That he's going to come with the sword, which is the word of Yah. Come on, y'all, wake up. Let's get this word. And whereas you saw that he gathered another peaceable multitude unto him. Listen at this. Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoner out of their own land. This is also talked about in 2nd Baruch. In the times of Husha the king, whom Shalman Eser, Shalakia, the king of Ashur, led away captive. This is all in the 2nd book of Baruch. And he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land, Shalakia. But they took this counsel among themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt, that they might there guard their statues which they never kept in their own land. And they entered into Perith by the narrow places of the river. For El Elyon then showed signs for them, and held still the flood, till they were passed over. For through the country, Shalakia, there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half. And the same region is called Azarath. Then dwelt they there until the latter time. And now, when they shall begin to come, El Elyon shall stay the springs of the stream again, that they may go through. Therefore saw you the multitude with peace. But those that be left behind of your people are they that are found within my borders. Now, when he destroys the multitude of the nations, talking about Yahusha, that are gathered together, he shall defend his people that remain. Are y'all not paying attention to what's going on here? Do you not hear what the Most High is telling Idris or Ezra? Basically, those of our people that are going to be left behind, y'all are going to be destroyed right along with these other nations. And it says right here in verse 49, and when he destroys the multitude of the nations that are gathered together, he's going to defend his people that remain, the remnant. And then shall he show them great wonders. Okay, family. Do y'all see it for yourself now? Are your eyes and ears open yet? Do y'all not see how the Most High, Yahuwah, was talking to these two prophets? And he was telling them exactly what was going to happen. Do y'all not see the Hamashiach or Yahusha or Yeshua was being talked about then when he was going to be revealed, how he was going to judge these nations and how these nations were going to come against him to overcome him, y'all? Do y'all not know that right now we are about to be in World War III? It has already started. Do y'all not know that the United States of America has given Ukraine bombs to bomb Russia? And just, I think it was either Sunday or Monday Russian time at 3 a.m., Ukraine bombed the Russians' inventory where their weapons are located. Now we're waiting to get updates, or if there are any updates, please let me know in the comment section from Putin, to see if there's going to be any retaliation. But I'm going to tell you, ain't going to be no if there's going to be a retaliation. It's a when is he going to retaliate, because he is going to retaliate. And when he retaliates, it's going to be with nuclear weapons. So if you all have heard anything, please put it in the comment section. Okay. And here's a clip from what I was just saying about Ukraine.
Putin says it's a declaration of war, this involvement. What does that mean for the UK and the United States? Will Russia now be at war with them?
If United States and Great Britain are now directly taking part in war against Russia, it means that all militaries of US and Great Britain are becoming legitimate goals for the Russian military. So as a first step, we can say that some of the probably intelligence aviation jet could be crashed by Russian army. And some of the satellite of the United States, Great Britain also could be attacked and could be crashed. On the next stage,
are you saying that the United Kingdom is now a target for Russia?
United Kingdom now not target yet, because these attacks on the Storm Shadow didn't happen yet. If Storm Shadow will attack Russian territory with participation of British officers and American officers, Great Britain will put all militaries as legitimate goals, targets for the Russian militaries automatically. If you decided to kill us, we have to protect ourselves.
Okay, so our last scripture, we're going to be reading from the book of Revelations, chapter 19, verses 11 through 21. And I implore you guys to go back and reread all of these scriptures that I have read to you tonight, and for yourself, okay? And make sure when you're reading that you consult with Abba to give you the wisdom and the understanding of his word, and to reveal to you his mysteries of what he is saying. Okay, I'm just here to present the word or the food, the spiritual manna to you so that you can be fed. But I encourage you all to go back and do the studying of your own. Okay, so that you can get what the Most High is trying to give you. Okay? All right, let's begin. And I saw heaven opened, and behold, a white horse. And he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True. And this is talking about Hamashiach or Yeshua. And in righteousness, Shalakia, and in righteousness, he judges and makes war. Now, where did we hear this at? In 2nd Esdras chapter 13, just like the Most High was telling the prophet that his son, Yeshua, would come back to do what? Rebuke the nations, which means judge these nations that would come against him in war. His eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns. And he had a name written that no man knew but he himself. And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood. This sounds vaguely familiar. Where did we hear this about his vesture was dipped in blood? In Yeshayahu or Isaiah chapter 63 verse 1. I implore y'all to go and read that one too. For all of y'all in the back who still don't believe in the Hamashiach, Yeshua Hamashiach, I implore you to go read 63 and 1 and precept it with this scriptures that I'm reading now. Let's continue. And his vesture was dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of Elohim, because he is the Word of the Most High. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. And out of his mouth goes a sharp sword, that with it he shall smite the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron. And he treads the winepress of the fierceness and wrath of Yahuwah Tessavoth. Hallelujah. And he had on his vesture, Shalakia, and he had on his vesture and on his thigh a name written, King of Kings and Yahuwah Adonai. And I saw an angel standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the fowls that fly in the midst of heaven, Come and gather yourselves together to the supper of the great Elohim, that ye may eat the flesh of kings, and the flesh of captains, and the flesh of mighty men, and the flesh of horses, and of them that sit on them, and the flesh of all men, both free and bond, both great and small. And I saw the beasts and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together. Where did we hear this at? In the book of 2nd Esdras, gathered together to make war against him. Who is him? Yeshua, okay? That sat on the horse, and against his army, or that multitude of peace. We just read this in 2nd Esdras, y'all. And the beast was taken with him, the false prophet that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast. Now, who we know is running around with someone that's trying to make peace right now over there? Little Elon Musk, Mr. Chip in the Brain guy. Keep paying attention. And them that worship his image. These both were cast alive into a lake of fire, burning with brimstone. And the remnant were slain with the sword of him, who is him, Yeshua, that sat upon the horse, which sword proceeded out of his mouth. And all the fowls were filled with their flesh. And you see, family, this is why it is important to read the former and the latter together, so that you will have the understanding and the wisdom of Yahuwah's word concerning his son. Because Yahusha comes in the full volume of the book. He was in the former and the latter, people. The Most High clearly was talking about his son in these other books that are not found in the KJV. Okay? That's why you need to get a Sefer or the Pseudo. Get these books, because they took these books out on purpose to deceive you. Peace and prosperity. All praises to the Most High, and gratitude for our King, Yeshua HaMashiach. Hallelujah.